Hi, I'm Don Jergler, editor of Claims Journal. Our team here works to bring you regular videos highlighting experts speaking for a few minutes on a claims-related topic they wrote about for us recently. The videos are part of a new initiative to bring you a better, redesigned Claims Journal experience, which includes an entire section of expert viewpoints with trends and insight. Take a moment to check out our new homepage and other expert viewpoints on claimsjournal.com. We hope you enjoy this brief interview. Thank you. I'm here with Alex Degan with JS Held, and we're talking about energy storage and the implications for the world of claims.
Thanks for having me.
Before we get started, tell me a bit about what you do there.
Yeah, I'm a vice president in the Forensic Accounting Insurance Services division at JS Held. We value business interruption claims for insurance carriers, and I focus pretty heavily on the energy generation industry and battery storage claims.
Great. Well, let's start with a broad view. What does the future of energy storage look like?
Yeah, I mean, in short, we expect to see pretty heavy growth. Last year, the EIA saw growth of about 66% in operational capacity. Next year or this year, they're expecting an additional 75% growth in operational capacity. So we're expecting a lot of these systems to come online, which is going to ultimately increase claims that we see in the battery storage facility space.
Right. Well, what are some of the insurance challenges?
I think one of the biggest challenges is estimating exposure in the early stages of a claim with very limited information. One of the benefits to these BESS facilities is the flexibility they offer. And so, you can have a system that, estimating exposure for it would be as simple as a monthly rental rate. They pay a monthly rental rate and the off-taker gets to use the facility. Those are fairly straightforward. Or you can have it as much as a facility that's 100% merchant exposed, and they change their bidding strategy and their monetization structure on a daily basis. So trying to estimate for that, if you don't have a pretty solid background knowledge of that specific facility, that unique monetization structure can be pretty challenging.
Can you take me through how you estimate the exposure for a battery energy storage system?
Yeah, again, with the estimating that exposure, I think what you need to do is have a firm understanding of the unique facility that you're looking at, the facility with a loss. In the early stages of writing a policy for that facility, you need to understand, what type of facility it is, how a loss would impact their operations on a day-to-day basis, understand their monetization structure. Like I said, there's a number of areas that they can monetize the unit in. They can arbitrage, buy low, sell high kind of thing is the typical one. They're particularly well suited for ancillary services. There's hedging agreements, tolling, capacity agreements. And so there's all kinds of things. And so understanding how the facility is going to typically monetize that unit and how they might change that monetization structure in the event of a claim or in the event of some partial loss of capacity. I think that'll help you understand what to expect during the repair period and what that monetary value might be.
Right. Our listeners here, our claims handlers, claims professionals, what should they know about these trends and emerging battery storage technologies? Let's look at some trends and talk about those, and then maybe some take homes.
Yeah. So in recent memory, there were two pretty high profile BESS claims that happened. There was the fires at the Moss Landing facility, which I think was the largest BESS facility in the world for a while. And there was also the Gateway Energy Storage Facility, both of those in California. And I believe Gateway was also a fire. And these were both what's called warehoused BESS locations. So they're stored in a warehouse in fairly close proximity to each other, as opposed to containerized, which is, an outdoor facility, and the containers are separated by some number of feet. I think it's 8 feet typically. And we've actually heard a couple of carriers publicly come out and say that they are no longer going to write policies for warehouse BESS. Because in the event of a fire, while fires are somewhat rare at BESS facilities, when a fire does happen, especially at a warehouse facility, the results are catastrophic. You can lose the whole facility potentially. So, I think that's something to look out for if claims handlers are writing policies for warehouse pests. It's just a trend we've seen and something to look out for. Another trend we've seen on a number of our losses is deep discharge issues during the repair period. So if for whatever reason your repair period gets extended longer than anticipated for whatever reason, sometimes insureds, if they're not leaving battery tenders, the battery modules will run down to an extremely low charge level, which can damage the battery. And by the time you're getting back to repairing the facility, those battery modules may not be viable in the system anymore. And if that's the case, it's something that claims handlers need to be aware of if you end up having a delay in your restoration period.
But I know there's probably some big numbers out there, in terms of losses. Anything come to mind? I mean, you mentioned one big one, but any big numbers you can throw out? Any big incidents you can throw out?
We've seen them all over the board. It can be anywhere from a couple million a month to on the high end, and we've had some that are very small because you only have a small portion of the facility impacted. So it really depends on the size of the loss, how much it's damaged, and really pricing. Anybody who's worked in the energy industry knows that the pricing in the energy market is extremely volatile. I think on April 7th, we just had a recent spike in ERCOT prices where it got to $4,000 a megawatt hour, where typical prices are, $10 to $30 a megawatt hour. So, you just don't know until you know the period and you know what the market's doing at that time.
Well, it's a fascinating industry, so a fascinating subject. So, Alex, thank you for being here. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.